again, here to talk about Bhutan, but in slightly different circumstances because we're following strict COVID regulations, and Sophie's outside wearing a mask, and I'm safely inside with lots of fresh air swirling about. So we thought this format's rather nice because it's a window on Bhutan, which is a small, tiny, the last remaining Tibetan Buddhist kingdom really in the world, up in the Himalayas, surrounded with Tibet, which is now China really, and India, so it's in this very perilous position, squashed between two giants. And the only way you can get in really, well, the only plane you can fly on is Druk Air, which is Bhutan's own airline. You can go by road through India. So the approach to Para is pretty extraordinary. You fly really close to mountains, skimming mountain tops, and then you plunge down. And I later got to know one of the pilots, and he was explaining that there's no radar, and so it's all done by visuals, by sights, and you have to triangulate 3 different mountain peaks. And then if you can see them all 3, then it's safe to land. Quite extraordinary skill of these young pilots. So that was an exciting start to 5 years of adventures. And I absolutely loved it. It's an incredible opportunity to be in this tiny country, which used to be very closed and has now opened up a little bit, but only for tourists who are prepared to pay about $500 a day, which obviously we won't. There's a road which the Indians are helping build. Obviously it's in their interests to have good roads so that they could keep China at bay. Hair-raising, but there was a wonderful experience on that road when I was with my friend who came to visit. I hired a driver and a big 4-wheel drive, and as we were going through central Bhutan, a leopard literally ran out in the road in front of us. And the driver stopped, and the leopard stopped in the undergrowth just to the left of the car and looked back at us. And I did manage to get a very hazy photo. Wonderful experience. The driver he said he'd never seen one on the road there before. So lots of special, wonderful experiences. A weekly market, which was an absolute treat, so everyone would go and buy their vegetables, which consisted of temperate from the south and also the grains and the more normal ones from the higher elevations. And also in the market was a store selling all sorts. You never knew what you were going to find. A lot of tourist tat made in Nepal, but this treasure just spoke to me from, I don't know, it seemed like 100 years ago. It's made of very soft and rather grubby chamois leather, and it fastens with the claw of I know not what. And then inside is an ancient purse with this wonderful silver boss and tiny Tibetan, very old Tibetan coins. I think I dated them to about 200 years ago. So that's one of my treasures.
Beautiful.
And the man would have that. And also he'd have a similar shaped thing which would be flint to start his fires. I mean, the metal, can't remember what you call them, but something to start the fires. Oh, that's just a mini of the traditional. They have a wonderful tradition of masks for their dancing.
Okay.
And tigers. I have a thing about tigers.
Yeah,
the
he's so sweet.
Where did I get to? Oh yes, here's another product which should just be hanging in the market, made by the yak herders up in the north of the country. Handmade rope, which involves spinning the yarn and then pegging it out hundreds of yards away and then twisting and twisting it to make this. I just adore it as an object. Then on my very, very last weekend in the country, hanging in the market was something which I'd never heard of, I'd never seen before, and it's a patchwork bag made of fragments of the old hand-woven Bhutanese fabrics, beautifully made with little silver accoutrements.
So would that be silk, some of it?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Hand-woven silk fragments, obviously gauze, which then went into shreds, and some dear person saved these amazing bits and made this Patriot bag. So that's one of my favourite things, and this is probably my all-time favourite thing ever,
Wow.
which was from the same store, this lovely old man who got to know me over the years. And when you feel it, it's utterly ancient and has these exquisite renditions of birds and animals on one side. I mean, the carving is exceptional.
Can you just
Exceptionally
rotate
fine.
it all the way towards me and then all the way around so we can assess it? It's stunning.
Look
What
at
wood
those.
would this be?
I don't know. It's quite heavy and dense. I'm afraid I have very little knowledge about. Oh, and then on this side there are these strange, like almost Anubis style creatures
Yeah.
here.
So I'll just go all the way along. So we just
Yeah.
hold it there.
I presume it was to impress in butter, so you'd get these little, but I never saw anything like it. And this is more modern carving, some
Yeah.
not nearly so skilled.
Gorgeous.
But I think it must be 200 or 300 years old. I love it. So that's my all-time favorite. Then the metal skills were exceptional as well. So this would be I think a nobleman's. Feudalism was only abolished in the 1970, I think, or was it? Yeah, 1970. So the feudal lords held sway, and still the children of the feudal lords were the ones who were sent away to British boarding schools and things like that in the hills. Beautiful
And what
piece
would
of
this
work
be
with all
used
this. And for betel nut chewing, you'd have lime powder
Okay.
and all your accoutrements for your betel nut chewing, and then that you'd keep that. The go, the traditional thing, would have come over this way, and you tuck that in your go, and then you'd have a cummerbund around here.
Beautiful. And what are you wearing? What's this around your
I'm
neck?
wearing the old-fashioned traditional way of holding the cloth, the female kira, it's called, a rectangle of cloth, you wrap it round,
Yeah.
and then you hold it in place with
Yeah.
these
With the cloth.
pronged things. Nobody wanted these. These are very old-fashioned
It's
style,
beautiful.
very
And is that what
passe.
these ones are as
Yeah,
well? Here?
same, with the lovely images. And then traditionally a woman would have a pair of these, this is very old-fashioned style, with the dragon head bracelets. And I've seen similar designs which go way back thousands of years, BC, yeah,
Yeah.
from Central Asia, animal art style.
Beautiful.
And again, not so many people wear them anymore. Quite heavy. So
And what was the
else have we
religion
got?
in-
The religion
in
very much.
Bhutan?
I think 82% Buddhists.
Yeah.
And then there's quite an Indian influence, so there's I think 20%
Mhm.
Hindu.
Mhm.
Bon, which is a very old animist religion,
Mhm.
and tiny proportion of Muslims.
Mhm.
But it is really, they're treading a knife edge between China and India.
Mhm.
And India says, oh, we're your big brother, we're your big brother.
Mhm.
They don't have very good relations with China. There are a few Tibetans who fled
Mhm.
when the Chinese invaded Tibet.
Mhm.
But again, that's politically quite a sensitive subject for Bhutan, so there are far more Tibetans in Nepal
Mhm.
and India.
And I see the flag behind you.
The flag, yes, Land of the Thunder Dragon. So this is the Thunder Dragon flag. It's one of the prettiest flags in the world,
It's beautiful.
I think. Yeah, it's very nice. This was made at a centre for children with disabilities. I know you're not supposed to call it, that's what we called it there. Centre for Disabled, the only one of its kind. And we helped all sorts of handcraft projects to get money, income coming in,
Mhm.
and give the children some sense of dignity and acceptance
Mhm.
by the greater public, because up to that point they'd been tucked away at home. Wonderful experience. This is just a fraction, but I'm so glad you let me share it with you.
Oh, thank you
very
so
much
much.
indeed.